Hey everyone, I'm surprised I haven't thought about it, but right now it is like prime time for AI to be exported to companies to like replace their own production. Because there's been a huge uproar of both people promoting it saying it's gonna get better, and then other people fiercely hating on it. But whatever hill you're willing to die on, it's still like more spotlight getting focused on AI being a tool for work, regardless of the quality of the output. I had the idea in the back of my mind for a long time, but one company I should have realized sooner would welcome this idea with open arms, it would definitely be EA. Because I know you can't always predict the future, but when a company has a track record of always taking the cheapest, easiest, and most profitable route ever, you can tell what direction they're going in the future, which they have proudly saying as well, and they're making themselves seem like an adventurer in a new frontier, and they'll be coming back with bountiful rewards with this new AI workflow. I'm not blind to how common and helpful AI can be for like programming, like getting the dumb shit done quickly like in Snap, but to have every facet of a game done by AI, graphics, voice acting, animation, advertising, that would be a surreal experience where every part of the game, no matter what, it just felt uncanny. They haven't said how far they're willing to take, they might sprinkle a little bit into like some small studios, but with an idea this crazy, and just EA in general, you can tell this idea is not going to come out of the door quietly and calmly. It'll just be like an awful huge experimental game that I have a lot of hope for making money, but it would only serve as a landmark for how moronic the idea was and how they themselves can do it right. And from their point of view, they definitely see AI as a heavenly self-supplying machine. With very little cost, tell it to make a game, polish the rough edges so it looks a little bit of quality and just sell that. Because for most game studios, being efficient is like a top priority, but at the same time, they also need like a lot of passion behind it to actually get it done because of how painful just game development is. But for a publisher, as big as EA as well, what would you really care about apart from just like cutting out like a huge workflow, replacing it with AI, making it cheaper, and making more money as well? Because you can make it work non-stop and not have it complain. On the topic of passion and efficiency for making games, it really sucks having this news come out at the same time of Xbox shutting down a studio behind Hi-Fi Rush, a legitimately good game that sold well too. Of course they're not related between EA and Xbox, but it is scary seeing this like blind curse go around game companies where they don't really see like the profit a game does, but more so like how they can make more efficient, regardless of the potential quality they might sacrifice. So just imagine for a second working hard to make your own studio, making a game that your own employees have spent like countless hours to work on, and then after a year or two of seeing your effort pay off, you just get shut down because the industry favors AI more. Therefore, if you saw the backlash of that studio getting shut down, you will realize that the idea of having an AI be the heart of like most games, that idea would only work in a planet full of like hive mind people, where they don't care about the quality of the game and they sit behind the screen playing it like, oh. One fact of this news that really makes it sad for me is how it also came like around the same time that EA mentioned like how the next Battlefield game would be a tremendous one. And even though I haven't mentioned like how these two news are conjoined, you can tell if they both came out at the same time, somehow the game will like have small aspect of AI implemented into it. And it makes me really sad, you can tell because I'm rubbing my eyes, because it's just like the whole history of like declining Battlefield games getting worse and worse, dying off like a mutated fetus. Where if you got into like I did around Battlefield 1, a legitimately good game, you'd be confident in believing like the next one after like 2 or 3 years would be around the same quality, if not better. But then you had Battlefield 5 come out, and whether or not you liked it doesn't matter because I can't really change your opinion on it. It's more like how lackluster it was. Well, even then, like the people that loved it the most, even they had gripes with the game that most people would agree with. However, at that point, it wasn't insanely awful, so there was like a little bit of hope that it would get better by the next one. And then you had Battlefield 2042, and that hope was just crushed. Well, legitimately nobody could defend it, and it made me feel so bad for the bastards that have like YouTube channels where they play Call of Duty or Battlefield, and they just spend so much time making the videos on that game, and it was a pain in the ass when you record footage for that game because of how glitchy it was and just boring as well. So there you go, you have two concoctions for the worst Battlefield game you could have, the genetics of Battlefield 2042 and the new spliced DNA of having like an AI studio working behind it. But I want to imagine for a second, to get some joy out of this video, let's imagine like best case scenario from this idea of having AI work on a game where it's playable and it's not glitchy all the time. Even then, the whole style and aesthetic of the game would be so dry because there's really no human life and passion behind it at all. You can tell you like rip off an idea from someone else, but with something like a game where you can like review every small bit of it, you're going to barely find a shred of like actual creativity in the game. One last thing I want to mention about the story that was kind of scary was like people saying like this could be like a boiling frog method very slowly in action. Where when I heard that I was like, oh shit, it could actually be, because like there's parts of like sectors of game development that AI couldn't do, but if you got you focus on areas that it was good like programming and then slowly over time develop it that could maybe do other parts as well like graphics, you can repeat that cycle over and over, slowly and surely, until it becomes like an actual studio and you can like, just kick everyone out. Where not only are you confident with the quality when it comes to making games, but you also have a generation of people race on it and they're like, oh shit, I didn't realize my favorite childhood game was like half-baked with AI. But yeah, overall, my final point being that despite the potential of using AI to make games and how much cheaper it can be, I still can't have like how dumb this idea is and how I can only imagine like the first few games made by this imaginary AI studio is gonna come out like total dog shit.